I want to give you two quick tips or insights this morning, if I may. They come from the field of cognitive and neuroscientific psychology, and they relate to what's going on up here. Unfortunately, a lot of the time very little is actually going on up there, and we drift through life getting to the end of the day wondering what was all that about. Or as a client of mine said to me recently, he was chatting with his uncle as his uncle lay on his deathbed, and his uncle said of his life, what was that all about? Now, we don't want to end up like that. What we want to do is become engaged in our own life in as far as that is humanly possible. And that means that we have to engage what is called in cognitive psychology, or in terms of memory and autobiographical memory and consciousness, that part of cognitive psychology, we need to engage what is known as the central executive. The bit of our mind that actually manages where we pay attention, the extent to which we pay attention, and how we actually reason and make decisions and then carry out the decisions that we've made. Generally speaking, that bit of our cognitive capability is managed by the prefrontal cortex, the bit at the front of our minds that unfortunately in normal adults is not very often very active. That's just a statement of fact. I won't elaborate on it because that's not what the point I want to get to very quickly here. We also have, way at the back of our minds, places like, for example, the insula and the amygdala. Bits of our mind that are very involved in how we behave emotionally. Now, the interesting thing is that these bits of our minds are very important in terms of how we actually make our decisions. In other words, what's going on at the front isn't going on in isolation. Surprise, surprise. The whole brain is an integrated system. Now, unfortunately, the integration rarely takes place because the prefrontal cortex is actually rarely activated. So as I said, I want to get to the point of giving you two practical tips. This isn't a lecture in cognitive psychology. The first thing is you need to activate this. And the second thing is you need to give this a little bit of free rein, because psychological research has proven that we make our best decisions when we leave our reasoning to the intuitive part of our mind. In other words, gut instinct decisions are better than highly analysed decisions. There's a lot of research in relation to that too. Let's just park that scientific fact as well. Meditation gets this activated. It doesn't activate it in isolation. By activating this, the whole brain is lit up. The whole integrated system begins to fire. Wonderful stuff. In other words, you are now actually fully integrating in the moment the capability, the enormous, unlimited capability of your brain. Meditation activates this. Meditation makes it grow bigger, grow stronger, so that over time this becomes activated as a matter of course. But as I said, this at the back is where we make our intuitive decisions. Our subconscious mind mulls over things best when it is not actually thinking about them. Now, if you think about that for a moment, the simple question will enable you to think about it. When are you most likely to find the solution to a problem that's doing your head in? When you're not thinking about it. The old expression that we should sleep on it, sleep on important decisions, is actually proven in psychological terms, because when we sleep, the conscious part of our brain goes to sleep, and the back part of our brain, where we make our intuitive decisions, actually mulls over it without us having to think about it, and presents the right decision to us. Now, unfortunately, if we're not alert, if we're not awake, if we're not conscious, if we haven't bothered to turn up to the moment, we may not be aware of the intuitive decision that our brain has come to. And that is why we need to keep this on its toes as well. So what am I saying? The two tips. Number one, I was going to say for God's sake meditate. No. For your own sake meditate. Try and meditate every day. And secondly, if you have any important decisions to make, don't make them on the spot. Either meditate on them or sleep on them. There you go. That's it for this morning.